Today we're going to be going over how to properly install door casing. Now, whether you're installing brand new casing on a new door like I am, or you're replacing existing stuff, the process is pretty much the same, and it's something pretty much any DIYer can do. So let's get started. Now, if you're doing the inside of the door like I am, and the door swings in to the inside of the bedroom, the easiest option is, of course, to just take the door off. That way it's not getting in the way when you try to measure the reveal. The other thing I do is I take the door off at the door, not on the hinge side or not on the frame side, because sometimes you will have longer screws in there that are holding the frame. So if you take it off there, you're going to loosen up the frame as well. So it's always best to just take the actual door off. Next, we want to mark out our reveal. Now, I'm using the Trim 45 carpentry aid, though there are tons of options for this. You could also make your own if you wanted to, but you want to make sure you have a consistent reveal throughout. Normally, I'd put a reveal mark on each corner and then maybe mark the middle and mark the bottom of each side. Though I've noticed that MDF tends to be a little bit less straight, so I've actually started using 4 or 5 marks on each side, and that just tends to help me keep that MDF just a little bit straighter. Now we want to measure for the top piece of trim. To do this, we want to measure from the reveal marks on the side pieces at each corner. Then we want to take a piece of trim that's longer than our measurement and cut a 45-degree angle on one side. Now we want the thicker side of the trim to be the longer side. Now, I actually learned this from another YouTuber, but an easy way to measure the trim after the 45 is cut is to line the cut end up with the edge of your miter saw stand and then hook the tape on the edge and measure it off that. Now, if you have the Trim 45 tool, another option is to just simply use that to hold your tape. Now I'm going to put a nail in each corner, but only one. I don't want to nail the top part of it yet. Now we can measure the side pieces, but we're only going to measure up to the bottom of the top piece, which should line up with our top reveal mark. Now we can take a full piece and cut the side. Now when marking my trim piece, I'll usually make a slash in the direction of the 45-degree angle that I'm going to cut as well. Now, the reason I don't nail the top piece down fully is because when I clamp the top and the side piece, I want to make sure that the miter joint for the two pieces is sitting flush. When nailing the side, I usually try to put 2 nails every 12 to 16 inches. Now, when I'm using MDF, occasionally it ends up being more than that, but it just really depends on how warped the board is. Now, when working close to a wall, a lot of times you can't get a clamp set. So if my 2 trim pieces don't sit flush, I will take a shim and place it behind the lower piece so that I can build it out just a little bit so that the miter joint on both pieces is sitting flush. Now, the last thing we need to do is go to each of these little holes and just make sure the nail went in. Now, if it didn't go all the way in, we're just going to take a nail punch and make sure it goes all the way in. And just drive it in there until it's hidden away, like that. Then we're going to come back with some wood putty and just fill in all our little nail holes, and that'll make it look, that'll give it a nicer finish. Now, if you're going to paint it, you can use wood putty. If you're not going to paint it, if it's already painted, I suggest using a little white spackle, and that'll fill in the little holes, and then you don't have to go back and paint it. If you do use wood putty, you're probably going to want to go back and touch it up just a little bit so it's not noticeable. And that's really all there is to it. That's how you get nice corners there. I don't really glue it because a lot of people do end up pulling trim off, and when it's glued, it just breaks, and it's very likely it's going to splinter more pieces. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you click that link below and become one. Click the notification bell so you don't miss when we put out the next video, and we'll catch you on the next one.